Today is Wednesday, October the 23rd, and here is the ES futures that hit the Globex high at 6 o'clock. Where is it? Right there, 6 o'clock in the morning. And from the open, we opened off of the prior day low, jumped up to the Globex high, came down, retested the prior low, went up to 38.2% over the Globex high, came down to test the Globex high, down to test the prior day low, and finished up near the high of the day, but at the 38.2. So you can see that the Fibonacci's, the Globex high, and the prior day low came into play, and the imbalance was almost 2 to 1. Not the imbalance, the advancers to decliners on the stocks listed on the New York Stock Exchange, 1.7 to 1, and on the NASDAQ, 1.1 to 1. So, bringing a look now at FinViz, we see advancers led decliners by about 11 points. Volume was pretty low in the Dow, lower in the NASDAQ, low in the S&P 500. So the momentum now, the money momentum indicator, is going to continue its slow trek, but jagged trek towards overbought, which would be up here. So last time we were there, we played around it, but we didn't exceed it except for one day. And the previous time, very similar to that, we only exceeded it for one day. Back here in February, we stayed on it for 2 or 3 days. And back in roughly this time last year, we exceeded it also. And then you know what happened at the end of the year. Zoom. So we got to keep our eye open for that, because we are looking at the bigger charts. We peaked over 3,000 to close today. Nothing spectacular, but let's take a look at the Chiku span. And look at the Chiku span got caught in the candle here. That's a bit of indecision. So that tells us a couple of things. Number one, we have the momentum indicator that says we should be slowly moving higher, and the higher will be to the 3027, our prior high in the S&P, which was made July 26th, so just this summer. But the Chiku span being right there, if we don't open above 3007 tomorrow, which would be an opening of about 6 points, that means that we're going to open potentially below this candle. And we've seen that traders are wary of that. They've been using candles as resistance and support for the Chiku span. Now here's an example where we opened up, or we closed right in the middle of a fairly large candle, and we went down the next day, and we found resistance in the candles, which kept us in a channel on the S&P. So watch tomorrow. If we open above 3007, or we open below where we are today, 3000 right now, 3001.60. That's going to determine where we're going to go initially for the rest of the day, either up or down. Initially, it could change midday. There's going to be no good news about China. The news is Turkey and impeachment right now. Apple up $3. I thought we might come down and test the 8 EMA, but we did not. It would seem that we are heading up as we approach earnings next week. So Apple, just looking for more. It's had another analyst rating now, taking the proposed target now up to 280. They're introducing Apple TV on November the 1st, and that's supposed to be just going to do wonders for their profitability. Caterpillar, two things happened today, which are notable. Two earnings: Whirlpool, that tanked overnight, and Caterpillar, that was predicted to tank in the morning because of great profits, but that was due to a sale that they had made, but really low revenues and not a good forecast for the coming quarter, just because of the uncertainty in the market, they call it, but what it really is tariffs and no spending in the United States on big infrastructure projects. But Caterpillar was not bothered by that at all and finished up the day $1.83. Now remember, I covered my stock with 133 calls. The stock closed at 135.52. My calls were worth 264. So my break-even point is 135.64 on Friday. And then I get to keep the stock. I won't make any premium on the short calls, but I may roll them into next week or take some other form of protection on Caterpillar next week. There's some profit there that I just don't want to lose. GDX, a little bit of an up day. With any weakness in the dollar, gold and gold miners are going to make their way up to this area of thin resistance in the cloud, and an opportunity to break through. Now the Chiku span still has all these candles and these moving averages to break through, and it's stuck in the cloud, but I'm still calling on GDX to slowly make a move into this area here. T down 50 cents, still channeling. Whirlpool is the other remarkable stock. Look what it did overnight. It dropped as low as 153.31 after trading yesterday. But optimism stepped in. Is it the consumer? Is it new housing construction? But it finished higher than the day before, up $1.35. So I really was planning on watching Whirlpool very carefully and getting in on it again and being able to take advantage of their very attractive dividend of, I think, $1.20 with, well, we've got until the middle of November to jump on that dividend if we can get any pullback. But right now we are, the stock is doing very well. It has pulled back to over 50%. Let me just turn off the Ichimoku here. It has pulled back to 50% of this major wave down, which is quite a good sign. It's a very strong stock, particularly after those disappointing earnings. Amazon reports tomorrow after the bell tonight. The ones that are notable are Microsoft and Ford, two important ones to watch. Amazon is tomorrow night. Amazon was stuck by the 8 EMA. I still believe the stock is going up, but with earnings, people are being cautious, and there's still a lot of resistance with the moving averages and the cloud. So that's it for today. Where are we going at the S&P 500? It's going to be determined by where we open tomorrow. If we can open above the closing high of September 18th, or if we open below the opening of September 18th, that's going to prove to be either support or resistance for the Chiku span.